Another week back down at Walk-Ons. We were off last week. Good to be back down here at Walk-Ons for Jags Live, presented by EcoSouth Services. JT Crabtree and Pat Greenwood. We've got a lot to talk about because we've added a sport to the docket now for us.
Technically two sports because we've got men's basketball and women's basketball to talk. But look, it's that time of year. It's not as crazy as when baseball and softball start bleeding into basketball season because of the sheer volume of baseball and softball games. But it is a little nuts. But if you're a Jags fan and you're looking for something to do, there's not a problem.
Yeah, pretty easy to find.
We've got plenty of options for you this coming week.
Yeah, we've got plenty of options, including actually in a little over an hour.
Yeah.
We will start one of those other sports we were talking about. Women's basketball will get started with an exhibition tonight against Agnes Scott. The men got started yesterday with their exhibition against West Florida this past Tuesday. We've got football back at home on a Saturday for the first time since September here this weekend.
And a 2:30 kickoff.
A 2:30 kickoff, which is great. The weather looks awesome here for this weekend for Hall of Fame and homecoming. And then, by the way, Thursday and Friday, we've got some pretty darn big home volleyball matches over in Jag Gym. It's number 1 in the West, number 1 in the East. South Alabama hosting James Madison. We've got a massive, athletics as a whole is a massive week. You have a very busy week.
Yeah, it's not bad, though. And then, by the way, next Monday, when you're in Toledo opening up the regular season for men's basketball, we'll be at the Mitchell Center opening up the women's season at home against Akron. So, there's not an issue of things to do. We've got our secondary system. We'll be able to work the volleyball matches on Thursday, Friday. We'll set up football, get it ready to go for Saturday. Then tear everything down, use Sunday to bring it over to the Mitchell Center and set it back up again. And hope it all works from last year. We'll tell you at about 7 o'clock on Monday night.
That's right. It's going to be a full week. Of course, we had a Saturday off this past weekend from football because we were on the road last Thursday taking on Georgia State. We left Atlanta, Georgia victorious over Georgia State, 38-31. That was especially in the first half. Man, offense was rolling. Defense had some good plays in there. Third quarter, got a little squirrely there at times, but found a way there at the end, and that's what matters.
But the thing is, we've always been a team this year that has just fought.
Yeah.
And it doesn't matter, what the score is, and we haven't been blown out by anybody.
Right.
We just haven't gotten those breaks, or let me rephrase that. We haven't made those breaks go our way in the last couple of games, and we finally did on Thursday night against Georgia State. And there, you almost felt bad for Georgia State because – that feeling.
Yep,
well, I don't feel that bad for them because we needed one of those games as well. But it's exactly what Arkansas State did to us. They didn't play well against Arkansas State, or Arkansas State didn't play well against us, but they still came away with a win. I thought that first half, especially offensively, man, that's the best I've seen us this year. And really, we had a touchdown called back that would have made it 35-14. We missed the field goal, and still 28-14. You won't sneeze at that, but it could have been a much bigger margin going into the halftime locker room. Had the setback. Momentum's going to go. Going to go back and forth. So momentum's going to happen. I didn't expect us to go down,
right?
And we're down 31-28 at one point, but we kick the field goal, make it 31-31, and then we start making things happen. Defense forces a fumble, cash it in for the touchdown, get the interception to seal it, and just to see the coaches, the players smiling and really just enjoying wins.
Yes.
We haven't had that very often this year, and man, you just felt so good for them.
Yeah, it was a great feeling. They made that bus ride after the game that the team took, I'm sure, a lot easier to take back home. 5 hours back home after the game. We left the stadium right after midnight, I think. It was maybe a little bit later, midnight Eastern, and then we had to go find food.
Yes, and that was an adventure.
That was.
We found food.
I think that took longer than the postgame show.
It did.
But all in all, you'll take all that, especially it's much easier to stomach after a victory, especially on the road. Get to savor it for a couple of extra days before we host the Ragin' Cajuns of Louisiana coming up here this weekend. Again, 2:30 kickoff, 12:30 pregame. You get to be back on the TV side of things for football.
First time in a while, man. Yeah. Let's see. If I'm going back, Coastal Carolina was the last time we had an ESPN Plus game. So, back in the booth for TV. So we'll kick off right at 2:30. Obviously on the radio network, you guys will start at 12:30. So that's after the Hall of Fame ceremony, by the way.
Yes.
That happens at 10 o'clock at the Bell Tower. So that, along with all the homecoming festivities, we've got a bonfire to pep rally Friday night. We have Trick or Treat with the Jags happening Friday, along with volleyball. There's no shortage of things happening on campus, but all building up to that game, 2:30 on Saturday afternoon, against a Louisiana team that's a lot like us. They haven't had the breaks go their way. Now, what I hope is that we've seen how to make those breaks happen finally, and let's put these guys away early, man.
Yes.
They're a good team, and they're going to make some plays. They've got some athletes. They've got good coaching. They're going to have momentum swing in their favor as well. But I really love the fight and the passion that these guys have played with since day one, and got it rewarded Thursday. Let's do it again at home.
Let's do it again. And we got a lot to talk about here in this first segment. We don't have time at all to fit in everything we got to talk about. Men's basketball got underway yesterday. West Florida, an exhibition victory, 88-76. Richie Riley not pleased overall. You take the win, obviously, but definitely some things to clean up from last night's. And we'll hit the road on Monday, like you mentioned. I'll hit the road. You'll be here.
I'll be here for the women's game.
Yep. And I'll be up there in Toledo for 6 o'clock tip-off when we take on the Rockets for just the second time ever in program history. It's a really good Toledo team up there. But it was good to see a lot of the new guys out there for South Alabama last night. Chase Harris dropped 25. Jaden Cooper had 20. Adam Olson had 20, had 15 of them in the first half.
Right.
Peyton Law had a double-double. So some overall some good things to take away from yesterday.
A lot of things to clean up. I was only there for the first half. I actually got to watch a game. It was weird.
How was that?
It was weird. I didn't know what to do. And so at halftime I was like, I don't know what to do with my hands. I'm going home.
Right.
But we can shoot the ball, man.
Yeah.
We can shoot the ball. We had some issues rebounding, obviously, especially on the offensive boards. But, again, it's an exhibition game. And, look, I'm not going to take anything away from West Florida.
Yeah.
Yes, they're D2. I get it. They have size. They have speed. They can shoot. They put us in a 12-2 hole immediately. We weren't guarding the three, in all fairness. We weren't guarding the three to begin with, and then they hit 4 straight, and now our defense changes a little bit. But they got some momentum early and kept it for a while.
Yep.
So they refused to be put away. But, again, the fact is our guys played hard, got the win, albeit an exhibition, and now let's see what we do for real next Monday.
Yep, it'll be the first official game of the season. Women's basketball is playing tonight against Agnes Scott. They've got a whole host of new players on that roster for Yalisha Jackson, her third year in South Alabama. We haven't even gotten to soccer volleyball yet. Soccer's playing tonight to wrap up the regular season. There's still a lot left to kind of shake out in the standings of the West because we could be first, we could be third, we could be fourth, we could even be fifth mixed in there because Old Dominion is now caught up. So there's still a lot to shake out there in the Sun Belt Conference standings.
We cannot be second.
That's
we know
right.
that
Yes.
because the winner of the East Division is going to be in second.
Yes.
So the winner of the West Division is going to get first, whoever it may be. And then after 1 and 2 are set, that's when they just go, doesn't matter division, they go the rest.
Yep.
Rest
conference
of the
record there.
So we will either be 1 or 3 and lower.
Yes.
But again, it doesn't matter because I think the top of the Sun Belt soccer, 1 to 5, there's not a whole lot of difference, and you're going to have to play somebody pretty good in the maybe even in the quarterfinals, much less the semifinals. So you'd love to have the number 1 seed just for the swag of it.
Sure.
But if it doesn't happen, I'm not discouraged at all.
Yeah. So that's in Foley, the Sun Belt Conference tournament next week. They're taking on Troy tonight at 7 o'clock. We got a lot of stuff going on tonight at 7 o'clock. And then tomorrow and Friday, volleyball hosts James Madison over in Jag Gym. 2 huge matches over on campus.
Well, the cool thing is there are 2 each week Sun Belt Conference Players of the Week.
Yes. Yeah.
We've got Anna Loberg for us and Lewis L. for them, for James Madison. She had 38 kills in a match against Georgia Southern, breaking the single-season record that she set earlier in the year when she had 37 kills against Georgia State, I believe. So she loves to play the Georgia teams, which is a good sign for us. You're talking about the 2 best teams right now in the Sun Belt Conference playing at Jag Gym. Love the atmosphere that you always create in there. There's a whole lot of stuff going on. So if you're going to be on campus, again, I stress to you, there's a lot of great things to do. Drop by Jag Gym and watch these ladies play volleyball. It's very, very entertaining, and it's going to be the highest quality of competition that we can have right now at this stage of the season.
My 6-month-old is actually very entertained by sitting and watching. She doesn't know what's going on, but she loves the noise and seeing everything fly around in there. So if my 6-month-old can enjoy it, then you definitely can enjoy it out there at Jag Gym. So a lot going on here on campus, a lot going on the show here today as well. We've got another packed show here. We're going to be talking with our defensive coordinator, Will Wyndham. He'll join us here in just a bit. Some of the DBs, Chris Wallace Jr. and Cole Blaylock, will talk with us, and also, of course, head coach Major Applewhite. It'd be good to talk with Coach after we haven't talked to them in 2 weeks on the show, or really 3 weeks, I guess.
Yeah, it's been a while, and so and I know he was thrilled with the victory.
Sure,
but just like Richie Riley last night, thrilled with the victory. Man, we got to clean up this, and this, and there were no weeks off in any situation. But this is the second straight week, and we're going to do it the rest of the way. If we're going to be bowl eligible, we have no choice but to win. And Louisiana's in that same boat. They're coming in 2-6, although albeit like us, I think much better than the record indicates. So I think it's going to be a pretty competitive football game.
Yeah, it should be a fun one. And that's a 2:30 kickoff coming up here on Saturday. We'll talk some defense here when we come back. Defensive coordinator Will Wyndham will join us here from Walk-Ons. Jags Live, presented by EcoSouth Services, and we are coming right back. Let's talk some defense now. Defensive coordinator Will Wyndham joins now. Coach, good to see you.
Good to see you guys, man. Glad to be here.
We've got the number one question for you. We didn't ask you on Monday. I didn't think we were going to ask you on Monday. I said, well, he's coming to the show, so let me ask him on Wednesday. Have you been to several Alabama concerts? Do you know what we're talking about here?
Yeah, I've had several people send me that. It's funny because they were more people sent me that and commented on the beverage choice in the comments than anything. But yeah, I saw that a couple of times. I actually gave that guy a good follow on Twitter.
There you go.
That's funny. Yeah, I did. I got that multiple times this week from random people. Some of my best friends from high school and my roommate from college sent it to me, and just, a couple of former guys I've worked with shot it to me. So, yeah, that was I didn't know that would be – I was hoping that it would be more about our defense than it would be me being at concerts. But
let's talk about – before we start talking football, though, I get a chance when we're on the road for radio to be on the sidelines, and watching you jump up and down and get more than excited about everything. It's fun.
Yeah.
It's fun to see you, and I've commented on it several times, that the first person out in the field, whether it's offense or defense doing something, is first guy out there is Will Wyndham.
Yeah.
How fun is it to be a collegiate coach?
Yeah, I mean, that's, you hear the old adage all the time. It's, if you're having fun, you never go, you never work a day in your life, if you love what you do. And so I think that's a big part of it is, and especially our defense, like those guys, offensive football is much different than defensive football, and I'm gonna help segue you into defensive football, the questions. But with offensive football, they know when they're going, where they're going, all of those things. As defense, we have to react, and we have to play with a little bit more edge to ourselves and with passion and those types of things. And so, Coach Applewhite always says the speed of the ship is the speed of the captain. And so I want to do my part in terms of, pushing the envelope with the intensity, with, and sometimes it's, anger maybe, but, just some of those things that where you want the guys to feed off of your energy. It's contagious. I think I mentioned that on Monday. It's, I like watching baseball. I grew up watching baseball. My cousin pitches in the major leagues, and hitting is contagious. And, when those things, when you feel good energy from those people around you, that's just like when you're out with your friends. You want to be around people who make you feel good or have similar interests. And so if you can feed off of that, and that's what I want the defensive guys to do, is to feed off of that and to have that same kind of passion and energy. And, we break it down every time we take the field. We say the word hunt because we want to go hunt the football and we want to go attack the football. And I think and that's part of our staff. We talk about that as a staff. And, I lean on some of the younger guys at times with Coach Steck and Coach Clemenson and Coach Wash even, that they get out there and dance around and have fun at practice. But we want those guys to feel that energy and feed off of that energy, because maybe they're not having a great day, or maybe something didn't go exactly our way on the last drive. But if we can bring that passion and that energy back, it sparks them as they take the field for the next one.
Got a win last time out at Georgia State. I mean, just kind of, like that. The guys needed that. We all needed that, right?
Yeah, I think our guys practice so hard. Like, I mean, you guys get to see it firsthand, but if you came out to our practices, I mean, the way that we thud and practice with the intensity, it's a long week. And those guys put so much into it, not just physically, but mentally, remembering this play versus that play, or not only what we have to do, but what the offense lines up in and what we're expecting them to do. We know we talk about winning the pre-snap and having my eyes and understanding, okay, well, if the back is here and the tight end's here, we can expect these couple of plays. Oh, no, it's not that play. How do I react to that? Or it is that play. Go, 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 And so I think there's a lot of things that, as you go through the week, it's like you get to – I tell people all the time, like, they're like, hey, do you want to hang out at the hotel when you get there Friday night? I'm like, no, I just want to relax. And, and to these guys, I mean, they work so hard during the week. And so, Coach Applewhite just kept talking about we're going to run into a win. Just keep working. Trust the work. The work works. It's all about the process. Don't worry about the results. The results will come. And that's easy to say when you're winning a bunch of games. Right. Sometimes that's a little bit harder to hear when you just lost in overtime or you just lost by a field goal. But credit to our players. They keep working, and they keep showing up every single day. And that's a testament to them. And I think part of that is some of the leadership we have on the defense. I think guys like Ed Smith, guys like Chris Wallace, who will be here in just a minute, just some of those older guys, Blaine Myrick, Darius McKenzie, that have played a lot of snaps of football, and they kind of know what it looks like. They've seen those wins. They've seen that progress that's been made. And so I think that's a big part of it, man. It's just, like you said, it's a deep breath, but now you hope that, like I said on Monday, you hope it's contagious to where we want it again and we crave it and we go out and we work harder this week because we know that there's another opportunity out there for us Saturday to go get one.
So have you seen a difference in practice? Because, again, like you said, the intensity's never not been there.
Yeah, you know what? I don't think it's really been different. And I think back to that part, it starts with us as coaches. Our job is to make sure that intensity is there. Our job is to make sure that, even though it's a spider's practice or maybe just a helmet's practice or we take our shoulder pads off halfway through, that we don't fall off in the intensity. And I think, sometimes people see your intensity and they think, oh, it's, it's mental intensity just as much as it is physical intensity. And that's, we put a big part on that, especially as you get later in the week of the mental side of the game and, dialing into what they're doing, what we're doing, all of those type things.
I was talking with some folks from Lafayette earlier today about the game this weekend, and they were saying, our same records, we're feeling really desperate over here. I'm sure you guys are feeling the same way. Not really. I don't feel like there's really desperation around this team right now.
Yeah, I think, and I've mentioned this to the defensive guys. To me, it's like playoff football.
Right.
We want to go to a bowl game. We want to make that third consecutive bowl game. We want that for the players, and we want that for this university and this city. And when you talk about those things, to me, it's like that is the essence of high school playoffs or, whatever the case may be, where we got to win if we want to go chase what we want to accomplish. And so it's still out there for us. And we've got a long road to go, but we just take it one day at a time, one rep at a time, one game at a time. And so to me, that's the biggest thing is this is like playoff football. It's go win and then see what happens next, right? That's what we talked about last week, Georgia State. Okay, we got that win. Great. We can't rest on that. We got to go back to work because it's still playoff football because they're coming in here on the same thing we are. They're under the same pretense of, hey, we both have the same record. Whoever loses is probably watching a bowl game from their couch. We don't want that. We want to go win and continue that playoff stretch.
So what do you see from Louisiana as you get through this week of preparation? Obviously, Lunch, their quarterback, runs like crazy. He can throw the football, but he runs like crazy, and maybe more so than anybody we faced this year.
Yeah, what I would say about them is they have more quarterback-designed runs than any team we've faced so far this year, and they do a great job of incorporating, the back going maybe this way to throw off your linebackers or pullers this way with your back going that way with the, what we call misdirection or, quarterback opposite runs, and they do a really good job with that. Coach Dez has been great at that, and they also will run, I was joking with some other day, student body right and student body left, where they're all going one direction. And so we have to do a great job. We're a post-safety defense, and what that means is we play a lot of cover 3 and cover 1, so we have the middle of the field closed. And the reason that we do a lot of that is so we can outnumber you in the box, so we can put more guys in the box and stop the run. And part of that philosophy is good, but it's hard because now they're doing what we call +1 run game. So they're adding the back as a blocker. Well, now they've created an extra hat. So we have to tell our post safety, hey, if they run the ball, we're counting on you in the run fit now, where normally you're just back there kind of air traffic control. You have to go show up in the run fit. And so some of those things for us, we've repped a bunch this week, and just we've got to be ready for +1 run game, quarterback design, but then also when they drop back to pass, he can pull it down and he can take off. And I think, I mentioned the other day that it's nice for us because we played Cam Brown last week. We played Jalen Rayner the week before that. So our guys, it's not like all of a sudden it's like, oh, no, there's a scrambling quarterback. We've seen that for a couple of weeks. And honestly, probably, I don't tell the players this, but for me, it helps me because of the correction of, and I think I mentioned Monday, Jalen Rayner, we ran a 4-man rush. He scrambles. Well, last week we called the 3-man rush with the spy. Now all of a sudden Tyler Thomas gets the pressure and he throws it right to Tyrell. So I think there's, for me as a play caller, you learn that it's not just, oh, no, we lost. How can we get better as players, or what can we do different? I have to look in the mirror and go, how can I put our players in better position to have success? And so I think some of those things have helped me in regards to this game plan as we've pushed through this week. We
got 2 student athletes here down with us, Chris Wallace Jr. and Cole Blaylock. Talk about those guys we got down here.
Yeah, obviously Chris, I feel like, has been here he has been here just as long as I have. So, Chris is a guy that we can lean on. He can play almost every position in our defense. I probably wouldn't put him at nose guard, but he can play just about all of them. But he has so much football intelligence. And one of the things I love the most about Chris is he is so loud and communicates with urgency, and that's part of defense that we can. We had a devotion earlier in the season, and Coach Fobb said it's not good enough to be on the same page, because I could be on the page, you could be on the page, and we're not on the same place on the page. He talked about being on the same word on the page, and so I think Chris embodies that. He makes sure our defense is on the same word and does a great job with that. And then obviously Cole has really stepped into a huge role. Obviously, and these guys, both of them, we tell the safeties all the time, your first mark is on special teams. And they've both done a great job earning that role on special teams, which has then transpired into, a rotational role, then starting roles, and all of those things that these guys are doing are making us a better defense. And I put a lot of pressure on the safeties, obviously, in our defense, whether it be in the run fit or doing certain things. And so both of these guys have done a phenomenal job helping us push the tempo. And again, do we want to be 2-6? No, but that is the beauty of college football is we get to play again on Saturday and we get to keep fighting.
That's right. Defensive coordinator Will Wyndham joined us down here at Walk-Ons. Coach, appreciate your time. Good to see you.
Thank you, guys.
Thanks,
appreciate
man.
it.
Appreciate it.
Let's keep it rolling here on Saturday, huh? So we'll take a quick timeout. We'll talk with the student athletes here when we come back. Chris Wallace Jr. and Cole Blaylock. They'll join us when we return on Jags Live. Back down here at Walk-On. Appreciate defensive coordinator Will Wyndham joined us there moments ago. Let's talk to some of our defensive student athletes now. Cole Blaylock and Chris Wallace Jr. join us now. Guys, good to see you. Thanks for coming down here.
Thank you for having us.
Yeah, look at you guys. Just
in unison.
I mean Coach was talking
about being on the same
being
page,
on the same word. Same word. You guys are loud. I like it. Great start here. Just guys, we'll start off with last week. Big win over Georgia State. That had to feel great to come home. That 5-hour bus ride probably didn't feel too bad after that one, right?
Yeah, I felt a lot better for sure. I mean, if we had kind of lost on that one, that would have been the worst bus ride of my life.
Sure.
For sure. Stopping at Buc-ee's helped a lot, too.
Yeah.
That was pretty cool.
There you go.
Yeah.
I mean, Chris, for you, just, older guy back there in the defensive backfield, just, then had to feel good to know that that's what we can be. We know that we can go out there and win these ball games. But it had to be good to see the results come through, right?
Yes, sir. Everybody know we should have won, some games.
Sure.
But for sure, coming home 5 hours away, that felt good. It felt good. That bus ride back, like Cole said, the best one. I've been here for 4 years, so that was the best one I ever had. Yes,
there you go.
So what does it do though? The effort has never changed. What does it do for you guys though to finally see that result? And how much more do you put in this week to say, hey, we want to do that again in front of our home crowd?
I mean, it's a huge morale booster for sure because, we work so hard. I'm sure they talked about how we practice. We practice just about harder than anybody in the country.
Yeah, I agree.
And we're hitting a lot. And it finally feels good to see that kind of pay off,
Yeah.
So I just hope we can continue that in the next week.
And I want to say I agree with Cole. I feel like we one of the teams in the country that practice the hardest. Our guys come in every morning. We put in the work on and off the field, in the weight room, even after practice. We put in so much work into it, put our time into it. But everybody still believes that we can still make a bowl game.
You guys are a morning practice team. A lot of teams in the country aren't. But for the folks at home that don't realize this, one, you guys are student athletes, student in there as well. It's not just playing football. You guys are getting up early, doing what you got to do before practice, and then doing what you got to do after practice, and also fit in schoolwork there too. I mean, it's a lot. It's a lot of dedication out there, right?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I mean, I find myself wanting to go fishing sometimes, and I can't because I got so much stuff piled up. But, obviously it's worth it. You come out here and wins like that is what makes it worth it to me. So I'm a very competitive person, so that's pretty important to me.
Yes, sir. It's hard to balance sometimes, but at the end of the day, I get to come every morning to be with these guys and our coaches. I wouldn't be nowhere else in the world. I'm going to be honest with you. And I love what we do every day.
Well, let's talk about the decision for you guys. You're both Mobile guys. The decision to stay home. So, Cole, let's start with you. Where were you looking at when you left UMS Wright? Why was South Alabama the fit for you?
So I still remember I was like sitting in my grandmother's house when Coach Kane called me and was like, "Hey, why don't you go play football here?" I mean, it just made so much sense for me because I'm a really family-oriented person. Like my family means so much to me. So when I had that opportunity to just stay closer to home with them and still play the sport I love, like that kind of just hit home, and I really enjoyed that part. Like I know where I am around here. Like I don't have to go learn somewhere new. It just made sense for me.
So, Chris, same question. Of all the places you could have gone, why South?
Coming out of high school, I didn't have any offer. So, I'm from here. So, being with my people, my mom and my dad every day, staying with them, seeing the work they put into me, and I know I want them to come to every game. So I was like, well, hopefully I could walk on somewhere. Took a little trials though, but I ended up, fortunately, God blessed me for my story, how I got found, and I wanted to come to South. I want to say out of high school too. Like it just ain't pan out right out of high school.
And considering where you were then to where you are now, where you are one of the guys on defense, how rewarding is that? Because it's been a journey. It's not something you just kind of walked out on the field and it happened. You worked extremely hard to get there.
Yes, sir. When I sit down by myself, I really sit down and really think about what I put into working for the last 4 years. Coming from being on scout team my first year, is like, well, I got some work to do. I found out how college football really works when I first came, and then I found out, just kept doing my job on special teams, learning the defense very well, and our coaches trust me, and I trust them, and they worked out.
And your story, for folks at home that don't know, it's pretty dang cool. You weren't initially part of the football team. You're working out on campus away from football, and someone found you, right?
Yes, sir. So when I first came to South, I was here a semester before I got on the team. And then when summer hit, me and my friend Brandon was working out at the intermediate field. And when we was working out, one of the analyst guys came and, he asked us, do we play football? I was like, yes, sir. He was like, y'all play anywhere? He was like, no, sir. He was like, well, we need some safeties. You want to walk on? It was like, yeah. And then he pulled out his phone and started recording us while we was working out, and sent it to Coach Wyndham and Coach Platoon, and we got invited to the camp, and we went to the camp, and then after that, we was on the team. And
that's awesome.
That ain't nothing but God right there, though.
Right.
That ain't nothing but God.
All right, let's talk about this coaching staff, specifically Coach Wyndham. We had him on here earlier. What is it like playing for him? He's got a little bit of energy.
Just a little bit.
What is it like playing for Coach Wyndham and that staff?
It's pretty fun because, there's almost like a new saying like almost every day. That's one of my favorite things about it. We were talking about it before. Like it'll just be the most random stuff. Like if we'll get beat in practice or something, which happens because we're DBs, he'll be like, "Oh dear me." It'll be something like just something so funny like that.
That made his head turn.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah, that's got to be fun too, because no day is ever the same. It's always something new, but it's also it's not just the same mundane. All right, let's go out there and let's hit somebody. You guys are having fun out there in a different way every time, right?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. It's nice to have somebody like personable too.
Yeah.
Like, it's not just do that. Like,
Yeah.
Yeah. At least he has some energy about himself.
Chris, he said that you can play anywhere on the field except nose guard.
Except nose guard.
Yeah, that's what I said. You can play nose guard, right?
Yes.
No issues, right?
No issue. I might get pancake, but I'll go do it.
You just got to get downhill, right?
Yeah. I'll do it, but I'm gonna like it.
Have either of you guys ever gone up to Major and said, "Look, I can do some things on offense too if you need me"?
I haven't, but I've thought about it. Cause I played offense in high school. I was like, that kind of sounds fun.
Yeah,
like,
absolutely.
That would be pretty cool.
I will say a thought came in my head. I played receiver. I played both ways in high school.
Right.
Get me on the jet sweep.
Well, he's standing right there, so we'll let Major know. Look, hey, just in case, you never know.
I won't hold against you, Cole. I'm a St. Paul's guy, so
You definitely don't like me.
We'll be all right.
That's right. I'm a McGill guy, so I don't fit in either way.
Cole Blaylock, Chris Wallace Jr. join us down here at Walk-Ons. Guys, appreciate your time, and let's keep rolling here on Saturday.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Let's do it.
Thanks, guys.
Take a quick timeout. Head coach Major Applewhite will join us here from Walk-Ons. When we come back, it's Jags Live presented by EcoSouth Services. Good to catch up with the local guys on the defensive backfield for South Alabama, Chris Wallace Jr. and Cole Blaylock. And Obviously, you know, the spirits are pretty good right now, considering what transpired last week. And yeah, they should be. They deserve to be having that good mood right now and feeling good about what they do, because that hard work is starting to see the results pay off is always what matters.
Well, and again, we've talked about it for, 6, 7, 8 weeks now. The effort has never decreased. These guys have worked their tails off. Coaches have coached their tails off, and we just have been 1 or 2 plays away from finally getting that ultimate goal, and we finally got it. So I was more happy than anything to see those players smiling and hugging each other at the end. I didn't get a chance to go in the locker room afterwards, but I guarantee that was a fun place to be, and it's just for them to finally see that result was huge.
Yeah, for sure. 5-hour bus ride felt a little bit better coming back after that win there, right, Coach?
Amen.
It was the guys made a stop at Buc-ee's. Did you jump in there, grab something?
Absolutely. Brisket sandwich.
There you go.
Big Red.
At 1 a.m. brisket sandwich?
Yes.
You still got about 3.5 hours to go.
Absolutely. It was a little chilly in the stadium, so the post-game food was a little bit cold.
Okay.
Celebrate with the guys. Forgot to grab something. So it was a huge stop. I was glad one of our bus drivers needed a mandatory break, so I was able to go in there and get some nourishment.
Good deal.
But take us inside the locker room. What was it like afterwards? I mean, again, you said it. It's not a program-defining win,
right?
But it was a win that was so necessary.
Yeah, not to make more out of it than what it is. You're 2-6 football team.
Right.
Slow down, Major.
Right.
But it felt good for the guys to be rewarded, because they do. They practice their ass off. They practice really hard. And I told them, and they kind of nod their heads. If you talk to your buddies around college football, you practice hard? Yeah, you practice hard. And you come up 1 point short, you come up 2 points short, you come up in an overtime loss, play an SEC team in their house to a couple scores. It's hard, and it beats on your mentality for a while. And so it was really good for them to kind of finally get that carrot that's been dangled out there, and have some positivity, instead of just always self-reflecting, what could I have done? It was good for them to be able to get on the bus and say, get the result they wanted.
Yeah, Chris Wallace was just saying that's the best bus ride he'd had back his whole career here. I mean,
there's been some long ones, but it pays to win. I will tell you that. It pays to win. It felt good. They celebrated in the locker room, dance, music, hugging each other, all the stuff that you typically have after a win. And then they got on the bus, and I think they were knocked out before Douglasville. And then all of a sudden, Buc-ee's came about, and everybody rose from the dead. Got their sandwich, got their blanket, got their Buc-ee's neck pillow, and then boom, back to sleep again. And then we had to wake them up in Mobile, and wake up, guys, it's 4:30, we're home.
But the thing is, and I talked with Coach Wyndham about this. Going out to practice this week, there's no different.
Right.
There's no difference. It's not like anything has changed,
no,
because the effort's always been there. You just finally got, as you said, got the carrot. But what do you do to keep that momentum rolling?
Well, just talk to them about what's still there to play, and you still have games to play for. You still have games to play for because you want to go to a bowl. It's kind of like the movie Major League. I guess we got to win them all now, huh? So it's.
I don't think that's the line from the movie.
Yes.
Yeah, that's fair.
Looking to see, we got some guys to stream, but nonetheless, I guess we got to win the whole freaking thing. So that's really what it is. And so the guys understand the urgency. They want that. I mentioned there's guys like Chris Wallace. There's guys like Dalton Hughes. There's guys like Kentrell Bullock. There's guys like Devin Voisin that have spent 5, 6, 7 years here, and we owe it to them to go make sure that they go out the right way, and so the guys, that's where their focus is. They obviously have personal goals, and in the world of NIL and stuff like that, people are playing for different reasons, but at the end of the day, you need to create value for our football team or yourself by the way you go play. Whether you want to play for someone else or you want to play for your pocketbook, you need to go play for a solid reason, and it needs to be strong enough to help get us where we need to be.
You mentioned earlier the mental part of it, and I think folks overlook that a lot of times. Of course, there's the physical aspect of it, no doubt, but we're 8 games in. It's a pretty grueling game mentally on you as the season goes along, right?
Yeah, it is, and that's kind of the mental part is where you just, I did this and I didn't get rewarded. I did this and I didn't get rewarded. I did this and I didn't get rewarded. I think those are easier pills to swallow. When you're playing a team like Tulane that's won all their games except for one, I think it's an easier pill to swallow when you lose to an SEC team that has gone on the road and arguably beat an Oklahoma team and competed with Georgia, whatever. We're not going to get into that saga. But I think those are easier things to understand as a player, as opposed to how do we lose this game on a field goal and a 2-minute drive? 10 penalties. How on offense? How do we lose it? I think that's harder for people to ask themselves week in and week out. So, yeah, back to your point, I think getting that win was crucial. Just for some of the guys' psyche that, okay, when we do this and we do execute, this is what we are.
We're doing this weird thing Saturday where we play on a Saturday.
Yeah.
What's that like?
It's I've gotten used to it, honestly, over the years, and coaching at Houston for 4 years and being here for 4 years. To me, nowadays, out of sight, out of mind. So I'd honestly rather play Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday every week. I would. I wish they'd move all the Sun Belt games to Wednesday, so we can get our league some notoriety and get people on TV. It's the changing around. It's long week, short week, long week, short week. Fortunately, we've been 10 days off, 9 days off, 9 days off. So there's been something that you can put your mind around on the schedule. All right, this is how we're going to handle these 9 or 10 day blocks this year. And so you kind of have a plan going into the season. And that's what you got to do in the Sun Belt or these Group of 5 leagues is look at it, before the season starts and say, all right, this is going to be a short week. And if we're playing on a short week with whoever, XYZ, then how much do we need to spend on them in fall camp? All right, and if we have a bye week before that short week, how much of this bye week do we really need for the next team, or do we need to take 2 days of this bye week and get it ready for the short week team? Because we've got a full week, we've got a bye week and a full week for this team, but this team three down the schedule, we got a short week on. So you kind of look and see, cost up, analysis on where we want to spend this time.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, we've got Louisiana coming into town here this weekend for a 2:30 kickoff. We'll take a quick timeout, and we'll start breaking down the preview of the Cajuns there, Coach.
All right.
Take a quick timeout. Coming back to walk-ons here in just a moment. Back here down to walk-ons. Jags Live presented by Eco South Services. We've got the Raging Cajuns coming to town here this weekend. 2:30 kickoff, 12:30 pregame on the Jags Radio Network. Coach, just initially we'll start on offense for Louisiana. What stands out to you about the Cajuns coming to town?
The quarterback. That's the first thing that kind of just sticks out, just because they have had athletic guys like that, but Lunch is a little bit different. I think that jumps out, number one, because he's taking the snaps and the athleticism that he has. Number two is 3 and 7, the backs they can run. They're really good backs, really, really, really good backs, disciplined backs. They run the ball hard, multiple guys to bring them down. Then outside, they've got really good wideouts. Sampson, we went to the same high school. He's a little bit younger than me, but he went to LSU and then has transferred over to Lafayette, and he's a really good player. He got back last week for Troy, so he's popping back on the lineup. 0, 13. There's several wideouts size. That everybody in the Sun Belt seems to have a 5'9", 180-pound slot. These guys, they're 6'2", 195, 6'4", 205, 6'2", 185. I mean, they got length. But the number one thing that stands out is their ability to run the football with the quarterback and the two backs.
Well, and the thing is, too, you assume, right, statistically in what we've seen on tape, they're going to run the football, right?
Yep.
But I wouldn't be surprised if all of a sudden they start the air raid offense against us.
Yeah.
So how do you prepare for that? Because there's always that possibility of everything I've seen on tape is not going to happen come Saturday.
That's hard. I mean, those are the ghosts that you don't want to chase.
Right.
You want to, hey, let's introduce some truth to this conversation. Let's go on facts, things that we've seen. Let's not get all, out there with the 1% and 2% looks. Those are things you have to adjust to, and that does happen sometimes in games. Is all of a sudden, this team has been 100% 4-down defense, and then all of a sudden you get in a game and they're playing you bare, or they're playing you 3 down. Well, you obviously have gone against that defense, so you kind of always have to have, a note card or a kind of a napkin in your pocket that has, all right, what if they jump in this? What if they jump in this? What if they jump in this? Now, if it's nowhere in their system, then you're truly chasing ghosts.
Right.
But there are things that pop up, like if you're an offensive guy and you're looking at, red zone pressures or third down pressures, you're looking and seeing, all right, what's the frequency of this? Okay, these guys like this a lot, and then you get to these onesies and twosies and you're like, well, they don't really call this a whole lot. How much do we need to practice it? Well, what if the second time or the third time they call it is against you? So what kind of issues does it cause us? Does it make us negotiate our rules? If it does, then we need to cover this. We may need to cover it, guys, just so in case not only does it happen in the game, it's just so they're not freaked out by it when it does happen. We need to go over this, rep it one time, make sure that they're solid on that. Okay, that way if it happens in the game, they're not totally surprised. If they are surprised, even though we showed it to them one time, at least they've already kind of had 48, 72 hours of talking about this, as opposed to, there's 6 minutes left in the second quarter and, they sprung this on us. So that is always a deal that you're For me, when I've worked with offensive line coaches, they're usually the guys that are like, hey, Major, they showed this. And I'm like, they've got 275 snaps. They've done this once.
Right.
And you're putting it on the script 9 times, which is 9 times more than they've ever really run it. How about let's do the things that they've done 85% of the time? But that's what you really want. You want that kind of guy on the offensive line that's paranoid. Every stone is overturned. So that's what you do with your game plans and try to be prepared for those things that may pop up.
That's a good peel behind the curtain there, because I don't know if people really understand, one, how deep you guys are going into some of this stuff, but two, how much time that takes to do all that as well. There's a lot that goes into that.
Well, when you get to the 8th game of the season, 9th game of the season, most teams have a 4 or 5 game breakdown. Well, that's like watching 2/3 of the movie. What did these guys do up at Eastern Michigan? What did they do at Missouri? It's a book, and they've adjusted as the season has gone on. So if things didn't work at Eastern Michigan and it didn't work at Missouri, well, then they've probably changed as time's gone on. And if you go back and you watch those games and you dive into those games, you can kind of get the story of why they have evolved this way. So we go back and we look at all the games, we look at all the pressures, we look at all the looks, all the coverages, to make sure there's not something that pops up that we just kind of assume. You don't do that. You got to go back and look at all that.
Statistically, defensively, they've been very solid. Talk about where they bring pressure and where there are issues on that side.
0 and 9 have played forever.
Yes,
and they've always been good too. They have never been average players. They've been really good players, so they've got really strong points on the end. I think inside they've always had good defensive linemen. They've been able to hold the line of scrimmage well. Their backers have always had length and athleticism. They've always been able to cover outside. Their corners have been really good. They've lost them, mostly to the portal. They've always had good physical safeties. The way they've created pressure is their length and speed on the edges, and then getting you into 3rd and long situations, which isn't common for most defenses, but they get you in those 3rd and long situations, and that's where you got to be smart as a play caller. You kind of have to hedge your bet. Like, all right, this is 3rd and 12. What is the percentage that 3rd and 12 really gets converted in college football? About 25%, if you're damn good. In reality, if you're damn good, you're converting about 25% of your 3rd and 12s. So how many times do we really need to expose ourselves that the chances are 1 in 4 in this thing to a sack, fumble, turnover? Maybe this is a situation where you run the ball and get to 4th and 4 because they are playing pass rush and they are out wide and they're flying up the field, and maybe you crease a run in here for 8 yards and you go for 4th and 4. But that's how they've made those type of plays is length on the edges, speed, pushing the pocket inside, but length on the edges, speed, push the pocket inside, and then getting people in 3rd and long where it's party time for those guys. And that's where you got to be smart.
All right, let's see if you can help me and Pat out here with some broadcast prep, because on their depth chart, they list like 13 different positions that they've got out there. They've got 3 linebackers and they're 4 down, and they've got like 6 different DB positions they list out there. Just overall schematically, what are they typically throwing out there?
They're going to play two personnel groupings, either a base defense, which is to heavier people, which is going to be 4 defensive linemen, 3 linebackers, and 4 in the secondary. Then when you bring in a 3rd wide receiver as an offense, they'll go to nickel, which means instead of 4 defensive linemen, 3 backers, and 4 DBs, nickel, 5. Bring in a 5th DB. All right, well, that's 12, coach. All right, and then you got to bring 1 linebacker off the field. So that's where they're going to typically be base and nickel. When you watch their guys play, their safeties and their nickels can all play the same position, so it's obvious they sit in the same meeting room, so they have the same information. And they've moved those guys around the same way we have. The same way Chris Wallace has played nickel for us. He's also played field safety. Ty Goodwill's played nickel and field safety. Mike Harris has played nickel and field safety. Wesley's played boundary safety and field safety. So all those guys sit in the same meeting rooms, and they all got to communicate with each other so they know each other's calls.
I can't hear nickel without thinking of Nick Saban and that famous video clip where he's screaming at the end of the game.
Yeah.
And I think they were up by 50 or 55, and he still called the timeout because he was ticked off. I said, nickel.
It's important. You're going to play with 10 if he ain't paying attention. You're going to play with 10. I feel his pain.
Yes.
So 2:30 kickoff here this weekend against the Raging Cajuns of Louisiana. Coach, as always, appreciate your time, and we'll see you out there on Saturday.
Thank you, JT. Appreciate it.
Appreciate
yes, sir.
All right, so that's Head Coach Major Applewhite joining us here from Walk-Ons. Take one more time out. Wrap up the show here when we come back. All right, one last segment here down at Walk-Ons here tonight. Appreciate Head Coach Major Applewhite coming down to join us. Of course, defensive coordinator Will Wyndham, the student athletes Cole Blaylock and Chris Wallace as well. Nice show here.
It was a good show. We had some great talkers. We always do.
Yeah.
But guys that are comfortable in front of them, I think they're getting more comfortable with us too because they realize, okay, we're not going to.
We're not getting you. Don't worry. We're having some fun. Don't worry.
Yeah. The whole point is to publicize the program, and we got some great kids in this program and great coaches. And like I said, that's a big part of the reason that I was so pleased for them that the win happened on Thursday night. And, you talk about desperation for Louisiana. I'm desperate for us because I want them to experience that again. And we've got an opportunity, but look, Louisiana's going to come in fighting just like we are to keep that bowl eligibility.
Yeah, for sure. Both teams with identical records coming into town. The home team hardly ever wins in this all-time series. We won there last year on a 2-point conversion stand. They won here 2 years ago. Then we won there the time before that.
And there's always been, as you said earlier this week, some voodoo magic that they do.
Yeah, it's always something
weird. Things have happened. We had the game where we had the 2-point conversion that would have put us ahead, if I'm not mistaken. And then, it just didn't happen. So, we need a lot of people out there. 2:30 is not conflicting with any huge games. Come on out. It's homecoming. It's going to be a great atmosphere, and let's go get another win.
And if you can come over to campus a little bit early, the Hall of Fame induction is 10 a.m. Just open admission, park at the Mitchell Center and walk over 10 a.m. for our inductees here this weekend. And we mentioned them earlier on the podcast, but very excited about the induction of Hal Williams coming up on this weekend.
And that's at the Bell Tower, by the way.
Yes, sorry.
Bell Tower, come on out at 10 o'clock in the morning.
And so that's everything we got coming up on Saturday, and then there's women's basketball tonight tipping off in a couple of minutes over in the Mitchell Center.
Headed there in just a minute.
There's volleyball Thursday and Friday. There's trick or treat with the Jags on Friday as well. There's no reason to not be on campus at some point this week.
And then women's basketball will start for real on Monday, 7 o'clock in the Mitchell Center. And then you'll be on the road in fun Toledo because the men's team will